"You broke me, baby." Those words left my lips so quietly that they almost disappeared into the silence between us. I wasn't shouting. I wasn't trying to make you feel guilty. I wasn't saying them to win an argument or to make you carry all the blame. I said them because they were the truth I had been hiding for far too long. I looked into your eyes, and for a moment, I saw every memory we had ever created together. The laughter, the late night conversations, the promises we whispered when the world felt asleep, the dreams we built without realizing how fragile they could become. Never, not even in my worst nightmare, did I imagine that one day I'd be standing in front of you, admitting that the same person who once became my greatest source of happiness had also become the deepest source of my pain. I slowly looked away, swallowing the lump in my throat before continuing. "Do you know what people think when someone says they're broken?" I asked quietly. "They imagine dramatic moments. They imagine betrayal, screaming, someone walking away forever. But that's not how it happened to me. I wasn't broken in one night. I was broken little by little. A conversation that ended too soon, a message that never came, a misunderstanding we never fully resolved. Nights when I needed reassurance, but convinced myself not to ask because I didn't want to become another burden in your life. Every one of those moments seemed small on its own, but together they became something much heavier than either of us realized. By the time I understood what was happening, I wasn't the same man who had first fallen in love with you. I closed my eyes for a brief second, remembering everything I had tried so hard to forget. I kept telling myself I was okay. I smiled in front of everyone. I laughed at jokes that weren't funny. I went to work. I fulfilled my responsibilities. To the rest of the world, I looked exactly the same. They had no idea that every night, after everyone else had gone to sleep, I'd sit alone in the dark asking myself where we had gone wrong. I replayed every conversation we've ever had. I searched for the exact moment when I should have held on to you tighter, spoken more honestly, listened more carefully. I became a prisoner of my own memories because I couldn't accept that something so beautiful had become so painful. I lifted my head again, tears shining in my eyes, but no anger in my voice. "When I say you broke me, baby, please don't think I'm saying you destroyed me on purpose. I know your heart. I know you're not someone who wakes up one of the people you love. That's why this hurts even more. Because the pain wasn't created by hatred. It was created by people who loved each one of those. We stopped understanding each of those ones. I took a careful fall. It wasn't the sleepless nights. It wasn't even the hardest part was still loving you while trying to convince myself to let you go. Do you know how impossible that is? Every part of my heart. My mind kept on to go away. I was caught in between love every single day. I lost a little more of myself. Lost a little day, a little more of myself. Though there was no happiness in the sound, there were mornings when I'd wake up and for one beautiful second, I'd forget everything. I'd reach for phone because I wanted to tell you about the dream. Then reality would return, and I'd remember that things weren't the same anymore. That hope, followed by that crushing realization. Then it happened, and so many times, and I eventually became of waking up. I finally met your eyes again. But listen to me carefully. Even though I never stopped seeing the good in you, I never started hating you. I never wished pain upon you, because the version of you I fell in love with still exists in my heart. I know you more than our worst mornings. I know you more than our misunderstandings. And maybe that's why letting go has always felt impossible. I took one final breath before speaking the words I erred for one final for the you. It was from you. You broke me, but the truth I never tell anyone is this parts of me. You also be how deep in our days future I never believed I deserved. You showed me extraordinary and beautiful part there. So now it's the most painful. Rogat. Remember for mine. I still don't know how I stopped losing the place beat. I would have both moved and went. Yeah, take one. The silence between us felt heavier than anything I had ever carried. I wasn't waiting for an apology. I wasn't waiting for you to tell me I was wrong. I simply wanted you to understand what had been happening inside me all this time. People often think a broken heart means love has disappeared, but mine never did. That was the cruel part. Every piece of me that was hurting because it still loved you with the same intensity it always had. If I had stopped loving you, healing would have been easier. I could have blamed you, closed the door, and walked away like nothing had ever happened, but my heart refused to do that. Every time I tried to convince myself that I should move on, another memory would find me. I'd remember the way you laughed when something genuinely amused you, the way you became quiet whenever you were carrying pain you didn't know how to explain, the way you would ask if I had eaten before worrying about yourself. Those weren't just memories anymore. They had become part of who I was. How was I supposed to erase someone who had quietly become woven into every ordinary part of my life? I slowly exhaled, my voice unsteady but sincere. Baby, I need you to understand something that I've never been able to explain properly. You didn't break me because you stopped being perfect. None of us are perfect. You broke me because somewhere along the way, I started feeling like I couldn't reach you anymore. I would sit there looking at your messages, trying to understand what had changed. I kept asking myself whether you were simply tired, whether life had become overwhelming, or whether your heart was slowly walking away from mine. I searched for answers in every conversation, every pause, every goodbye. The worst part was that I never found certainty. I was trapped in this endless space between hope and fear, where every good moment made me believe we would be okay, and every quiet moment convinced me I was already losing you. Living like that changes a person. It teaches them to smile while expecting disappointment. It teaches them to celebrate small moments because they're afraid bigger ones may never come again. I looked at you with tired eyes, eyes that had spent too many nights open long after everyone else had gone to sleep. There were evenings when I'd stare at my phone for an hour before sending you a single message. Not because I didn't know what to say, but because I was terrified of saying the wrong thing. I would rewrite simple sentences over and over again, wondering if they sounded too cold, too emotional, too needy, or too distant. Imagine that, baby. The woman who once made conversation feel effortless had become the one person I was afraid to speak to because I didn't know whether my words would bring you closer or push you further away. That fear slowly stole pieces of me. It stole my confidence, my peace, and eventually even my ability to believe that I deserved to be loved without constantly questioning it. I paused, letting the weight of my confession settle between us. I remember one particular night so clearly. It was late, and the entire world seemed asleep. I picked up my phone at least 20 times because I wanted to call you, I didn't even have anything important to say.